Have you ever wondered what would happen if Kyubei made a contract with the worst possible candidate as being Madoka's teacher? A contract. The quirky and chaotic story kicks off in the Madoka Magica Antology Manga Chapter 3, where Kyubei approaches Madoka's teacher with an offer she can't refuse.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Sorry, had to. This offer was to become a magical girl. Initially thinking this is a prank, Madoka's teacher, who was at the time a little more than drunk, reacted in a less than graceful way. She grabs Kyubei, squishes him, and even squishes harder after misinterpreting his intention, since, not gonna lie, Kyubei's word made her believe that he wanted her to become a prostitute. Not my word, that were her words. After some time and a lot of explanation of what a magical girl is, she finally begins to understand Kyubei's proposition. To her surprise, she said that an alien wizard cat would even consider her for a magical girl contract. However, she questions why Kyubei would choose an adult over a middle schooler, who seems like a more typical candidate. Kyubei explains that her warm and idolized concept of love makes her the biggest child he has ever encountered. Not gonna lie, this is perhaps the most brutal backhanded compliment Kyubei has ever delivered. So much so that he even feels guilty watching Madoka's teacher becoming extremely depressed by his comment. Anyways, out of nowhere, Homura bursts into the scene and shoots Kyubei with her automatic weapons, rushing off to find Madoka, who is asleep, and in the hopes of stalking her and watching her sleep. Honestly, even Saji from One Piece would handle that moment with more class. Anyway, since Homura had already wiped all other Kyubei's backup buddies, Kyubei is forced to summon his backup buddy to continue his mission of convincing Madoka's teacher to become a magical girl. Unfortunately for him, he finds his previous buddy being eaten by Madoka's teacher. Disturbed, Kyubei hopes that nothing bad will happen, but then he sees that Madoka's teacher begins to take some of Kyubei's physical traits, most notably Kyubei's ears, as well as some of his intelligence, which results into Madoka's teacher suddenly finding Kyubei rather attractive. Not gonna lie, still a better love story than Twilight. Things only escalated when Madoka's teacher wishes to make a contract, her request for Kyubei to become her husband. Horrified, Kyubei tries to reject the idea, explaining that he needs to remain active in making contracts with other girls. But this of course enrages Madoka's teacher, and she therefore wishes that he should rewrite reality so that no version of Kyubei across all time and space will ever be able to make a contract with another girl again, and so that he can only spend time with her. Since a witch is a witch, Kyubei is bound to grant it no matter how much he loathes it. The result, Kyubei becomes a full-time husband and stay-at-home husband, living a peaceful life alongside Madoka's father, and both of them become gardening buddies who talk about their wives. The story ends with Kyubei begrudgingly adjusting to his domestic life. And that was the story. I hope you enjoyed the story because I found it pretty entertaining. If you want more of these stories, please check out my other Madoka Magica videos. But for now, goodbye.